Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. Friday, we made it through another week, and it's just bad, people. I can't sugarcoat this, honestly, and but we have a lot to talk about. So, first of all, you guys can hear me, everyone, Lava, everyone. Um, all right. So, post market wrap up, March 28th, Friday, March 28th, 2025. Anyway, listen, I'm going to start off with thank you, Tattoo Destroyer. I appreciate that. I'm going to start off with the market. We're going to start off with the market as usual. Let me get my head on, and we have a lot to cover here. So just bear with me. The stock market got hit today pretty good. I mean, this is what we got out of the major indexes. Despite the fact, there's a couple of things going on, man. You got to just be aware of. The economic news is absolutely abysmal, and this is not new. If you recall, and I hope you guys and girls have been with me long enough, during all of last year, all right, this stock market hit like 52, 53, 54 record highs, despite the fact that the economic news was every week worse and worse and worse and worse. The mechanism that has been in place has been it's starting to show rear its ugly head. I mean, there's the gap between the markets and the economy is so far off the charts that there has to be a moment of reckoning. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening here with the stock market falling like this. What I am saying is generally bad economic news is enough to prop up the stock market. That's why we had record high, record high, record high, record high, over 50 record highs for the S&P 500 last year in the stock market with the mummified creature Joe Biden Stein thing puke. I can't even stand talking about the guy. Anyway, but now today, and this is just not just today, we're in this phase of the market, which I believe. I know this is going to sound crazy to some of you. I believe it's just a normal correction because, again, we're not seeing a meltdown in the debt market. But that brings me to another point. So despite the bad economic news and what we got today really almost takes the cake, okay? It just doesn't stop. Yesterday with the trade deficit, no one saw that one coming. No one saw that coming, except you and I, of course. Markets falling under pressure. But look at this. The U.S. 10-year yield dropped 10 basis points. 10. And that was not enough to reprop up the stock market. Could you only imagine what would have happened to the stock market if someone's buying a lot of debt here? I think it's pretty obvious as to who's doing that. Now, the dollar, which has been screaming at us for quite a while now, is barely above 104. That's a critical level. Okay, if we fall through 104, we're going to see that again. Look, man, understanding what we're looking at here. Again, this is just a comparison. This is the US dollar in comparison to other currencies. The US dollar generally has been since forever thought of as a safe haven. When you have things like economic war, tariffs, kinetic war, like we're doing right now, we're flattening an entire nation just to allow the Fed to inflate. That's all it is. It's not a war on terror, it's a war on you. And we're going to talk more about that. There's no knee jerk here. You don't see anything going on. I mean, this is bad. Again, the dollar, the United States, falling off the map. We're being isolated. We're isolating ourselves. Economic policy of isolation here, basically thrusting the world into an economic war and a kinetic war. Not a good thing. Dollar is not responding as you would expect it. With regard to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies today, got hit pretty much across the board. Okay, let us move on to commodities where we really need to be focusing on here. All right, gold, silver. Okay, we know a pretty incredible run here, people, for gold and silver. Crude oil is going to catch up. It's just a matter of time before, again, you have to understand, it's geopolitical events Absolutely. It's the fact that the global economy is contracting and contracting and contracting, including here in the United States. That's right now driving the price of crude lower. But the fact of the matter is, commodities are priced in dollars. The dollar is being systematically erased. Okay. World doesn't want the dollar. You don't want our dollar. I'm going to repeat myself. The world doesn't want our debt. They're dumping our debt. The world doesn't want our products. You understand? Okay. Just currency devaluation alone, being that commodities are priced in dollars, is going to be enough to drive them higher. Okay. And again, the mechanism here is not going to stop. Now, again, we have a lot to talk about. Now, let's focus on some economic news that we got today. And none of this, and I mean what I'm going to show you here, not one of you, not one who follows this blog is going to be surprised about this. This just everything that you and I have spoken about. People, I urge you, if you're new here, look back on the work we've done here, this family that we've built, this worldwide family that we've built here. We've nailed this to the wall better than 90%. Better than 90. Way better than 90. So this is not a surprise to anyone. There's no crystal ball here. There's no magic spell here. This is just too simple to understand. What's happening, why it's happening. I think we're all pretty much on the same page. We're being destroyed. We're being systematically eradicated like insects, okay? We are moving into a whole new paradigm, a whole new set of rules. Sound familiar to you? It should. I've been telling you this for over 10 years. It's in our face. It's happening right now. What we have is going to be unrecognizable in just a few months, and we're already right there. So anyway, going back to the economic news from today, let's start off with this. Consumer sentiment falls to a 32-month low as weakness in the labor market grows. Concerns over deteriorating outlook is shared by Republicans, Democrats, and independents, and everyone. This is nothing that we're talking about is a partisan issue. This is just reality. It's not, look, man, I never saw so much pushback when I was berating Biden last time. I got virtually no complaints about it. Here, you have TDS. If you don't believe in what Trump is doing, you have some kind of derangement thing that they make up out of their own head. They're the ones with the TDS because they can't see it. They have some type of a God syndrome. What I believe is happening, these people are spiritually disenfranchised, honestly. They can't see the dynamics in play. They can't see that this is pure, unadulterated darkness that has taken over the United States and many, many people with it, okay? Not you and I. So that's one. Here. Now, this again is not going to surprise you, but how they're spinning this may surprise you, although probably not. Core inflation in February hits 2.8, higher than expected. No one expected to see this either. Now, what they try to do here is they bring out the spin doctors. Spending increases. Now, they're talking about consumer spending, and I want you to hold that thought for a second here. Basically, this, I'm not even going to read this. It goes over what the premise is core inflation is rising faster than they thought it would be. Okay, who's they is what I want to know. Because anyone with even the slightest idea of what's happening has a clear understanding of what's happening and what's going on. And the decimation of the US dollar, what's happening to the United States, how we're all going to pay for this, how you and I are paying to fulfill the corporate agenda. Corporate profits, record highs. Record highs. Small businesses here in the United States, 75%. We just covered this morning. 75% of U.S. small businesses are struggling right now. This number is going to go up dramatically as the cost of everything continues to rise. Input costs here. We're going to see a series of things occur. And I wrote some of this stuff down, and I'm going to, because I couldn't get it all in my head as I was sitting here trying to prepare for this. Anyway, so core inflation higher, but I want you to focus on how they're trying to spin this. Hold on a minute. I thought I had it. Here we go. Here. U.S. consumer spending rebounds in February. So let's just break this down to something extremely basic. if the prices of virtually everything are rising, does it make sense to you that consumers have to spend more? Because what they're trying to tell you is the consumer is strong. The consumer is strong because they're spending. The consumer, we have no choice but to spend more. So what they try to do is spin it. Again, this is the spin doctors here. Consumers are strong. They're spending. But if they outline for you that they have no choice, do you believe you have a choice? Can you go to the store and say, you know what? I don't want to pay $10 for this. Last week it was $7. Today it's 10. I want to pay 7. They're going to laugh at you. They're not going to say, no, you got to pay the price now. So we're being forced to pay more. But the spin doctors here are trying to make it seem like this is great. The consumer is spending. The consumer is absolutely done, maxed out. Henceforth, why loans, defaults across the board are skyrocketing. Does this make sense to you, what I'm saying? Now, I want to discuss something with you that I found frightening. Frightening, okay? And that's this thing here. This thing is me, okay, having a conversation with AI, okay? Elon Musk says it's summoning the demon. Okay, maybe this is the demon. I have no idea, but I just want to read this to you, okay? This is verbatim, word for word transcript of one question that I proposed to AI and its answer right here. Let me read this to you. I believe, and this is you guys and girls too. Because if you've been with me, you know what I'm about to say because we've covered it a million times. All right. So anyway, I believe, and you all believe too, I'm pretty sure, that very shortly we will be in an inflationary depression. What is your take? I'm talking to AI as if this is a person here. What is your take on that? And what would be the fallout? This is AI verbatim, word for word. Nothing has changed. AI. This first paragraph is incredible. If we continue down this path, it's acknowledging that we are on a pathway. If we continue down this path and slip into an inflationary depression, it's acknowledging that we are moving into an inflationary depression. Am I reading this wrong? If we continue down this path and slip into an inflationary depression, the fallout would be severe across several fronts. And this is what it's saying the fallout would be. You'd likely see continued dollar devaluation, skyrocketing costs for essentials, mass layoffs as profit margins get squeezed, and a real squeeze on the middle class. This part here is giving me chills down my spine because I have said this, what I'm about to read to you, for 10 years. Credit markets could seize up. This is insane. Credit markets could freeze up, and confidence in government and central bank policy would erode even more. You'd likely get civil unrest, more political instability, and a major shift in capital out of paper assets and into tangible ones like commodities, farmland, and physical metals. Do you think that AI, whatever it may be, nailed it to the wall? Because this sounds like you and I. When I was listening to this thing, I couldn't swallow. I'm like, people, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is exactly what is happening. And this is not a partisan issue. This is nothing against Trump. This is just the way it's been going. And you and I have been talking about since this freak show started, since we got out here. Why I've been telling you guys, bet against the system, bet against the debt, realizing where we're going. That is pretty astonishing. Wouldn't you have to agree? Now, I forgot this one. This is another piece of information from today. Now, I want you guys and girls to think about this. The U.S. Treasury is on pace to spend 7.4% more this year than last year. Now, this is not a surprise to you. We already knew that we were going to see this. The spending can't stop. What we have been fist fed down our throats and in every single orifice that we may have is we're going to be cutting spending. We're going to be cutting this. We're going to be cutting that. It's already all been erased multiple times over with the war now that we are in a new war, an undeclared war, which we don't declare war anymore. We just flatten entire nations and it's not a war. You can't make that up, but that's the truth here. It's devilism. Does it sound about right to you? Okay. Again, the lies. This is about terror. This is about that. No, it's about inflating the system because the system is dying. And without every mechanism imaginable to inflate it, we go back to Mad Max and we're going to enter into an inflationary depression. Don't listen to me anymore. This is AI. I mean, I can't even believe this. It's saying if we continue down this path, do you think we're not going to be continuing down this path? Everything we're seeing right now is pointing in that direction. My job is very simple, believe it or not. All I do, I told you, I connect the dots. And I study this stuff around the clock. If you saw my desk, you'd probably throw up. Graphs and all kinds of stuff that I make up. It's just about connecting the dots. This is not a partisan issue. This is not looking to trigger anyone. Doesn't matter who they have behind the Resolute desk. I've told you guys that since time immemorial. It doesn't matter because we lose. Jonathan, thank you. It's been a recession or something worse than that. But again, to see the spin doctors, Jonathan, see what they're doing? Consumers are spending. Prices continue to rise. They're telling us they are. And then they try to trick us. Again, look for that. Deceptions, distractions. Look there. Don't look over here. Do you see what I'm talking about here? It's quite an incredible thing. Now, I was writing a few things down here. In fact, this is just stuff I was writing this down. You probably can't read my handwriting here, but small business costs are skyrocketing. Expect more. Look here. Do not look over there. Expect to hear that what you're seeing with your own eyes, they're going to tell you it's not real. This is part of the deception campaign that is going on here. What you're seeing with your own eyes and in your own pocketbook, it's not real. Again, going back to consumer spending, we know why consumers are spending more. It has nothing to do with them being strong. It has to do with the fact that they have no choice because prices continue to rise. And what's causing that? Let's not even talk about the tariffs because we haven't even begun to see the brunt of tariffs, which are on and off and on and off every freaking day. Okay, they're back on now, I think. Okay, whatever. It's very hard to get your head around. We're just talking about currency devaluation, which is a wrecking machine for the economy, which is a wrecking machine and has been a wrecking machine for the middle class. Meanwhile, corporate profits, record high. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's too simple. Am I right, Jonathan? Thank you. Exactly. You know, let me just say this. Look what he wrote here. Division, deception, and distraction. A lot of us understand that there are dark forces in this world here. Okay. Dr. Rizwan, thank you. Yes, they know. We know that, Dr. Rizwan, that that Bank of America, freaking Moynihan told us they're ready. Just flip the switch. All they need is the permission to do it. What President Trump just did, again, with the pacifier that this is not going to lead to a central bank digital currency. We all know baseball cards, absolutely tangible asset. I would say you should put your money to work. Like I got cars and I got musical instruments and I got all kinds of things around here, man. It's just unbelievable here. I even got Evil Knievel toys. I mean, but going back to what I was saying, look, man, how does Satanism or devilism, most of us think that it's hurting. It hurts us, which it does. But what's the real target in all this? It's God himself. How does Satan, hurt God? Very simple, by putting us at each other's throats, by causing division, by causing strife, by causing hatred. God's creation, God created all of us. Can we pretty much agree on that? I know there are some of you out here that are atheists. I am certainly not an atheist here. How the devil or evil or dark forces gets at God himself is by putting us at each other's throats, by watching us murder each other, slaughter each other, and we just sit back and do nothing like we're doing now with this new war. How many of you have written to President Trump and say you don't want this whole thing? You thought he was the president of peace. It's a deception. Jonathan, thank you. Absolutely. It's a deception. And all deceptions, all lies come from one source. I think we're all on the same page here. Okay. Now, while we're talking about that, I want to bring this to your attention as well. And this is not a partisan issue. Lions. Retail investors lost over $661 million due to fraud perpetrated by Trevor Milton. Prosecutors said in court documents just 2 weeks ago that Milton was convicted in 2022 securities fraud and 2 counts of wire fraud, defrauded $661 million out of people like you and I. President Trump pardoned this guy today. Is this devilism? I think it is. Because why does this guy deserve a pardon here? He must have something very, very bad on President Trump. That's the first thing that went through my head. Do you guys approve this? This is going to cause division here. This is not a partisan issue, but I want to hear from you. If you are a backer of President Trump, do you support the fact that he pardoned this guy with a near over $500 million fraud? Where are the arrests that we're supposed to see with Doge, with the fraud and the misallocated funds? Do you think you're going to see one? Well, here's a little piece of information for you on Trevor Milton. No, we're not going to see anybody in handcuffs. We're not going to see anybody held to account. What's happening here, okay, is more hatred and division. Doge is doing a great job. They're finding all this fraud. Really? Well, again, if fraud is a crime, misallocation of funds, crimes, not one arrest so far. We're not being told who's responsible, just mass firings of low-level people. No one at the upper echelon of anything is being held to account. Does this sound like a dark force to you, or do you still see President Trump as the hand of God? Because I hear this still from people. They've been so deceived. They've been so deceived. They read exactly, Jonathan. You're 100% right. The Bible is the best asset. Everything is in that book. Everything is in that book. Okay. I'm not going to go off on a tangent with all this. Okay. Does this sound about right to you? Do you guys condone this? Is this something that you support in any way? That a man convicted of a $661 million fraud got pardoned by President Trump? You think this is fake news? Some of you are I guarantee you that some people are going to say this cannot possibly be real. This is fake. Well, you know what? To those people, I'm going to say, look it up for yourselves, because I really might be lying to you. Do you see where we're going here, people? I don't know how to say this, really. It's a dark force has taken over many people. They have fallen into some kind of a disenfranchised trance here. It's not very good, obviously, what we're seeing here on any front. Now, just playing off here of what AI said about, this is astonishing, talking about credit markets freezing up, because that's the real thing here. People, let me just say this again, if you're new here. It's not about the stock market crashes or even an economic collapse. People can survive these things. People can survive a stock market crash, which we're not in one yet. Doesn't mean we're not going to precipitate into it, because the debt market right now, they're buying it all. The real crash is going to end up when, again, the credit markets freeze. When the credit markets lock up. When there's a sell-off in the debt markets, that's going to send bond yields spiking to the moon. That's going to put pressure on stock markets like people are not going to believe their head's going to spin around like the freaking exorcist. I told you this a million times. Okay. Now, with that's all well and good. Again, debt market can melt down. Is that the real problem? Actually, it is. But stock markets will melt down. That's not the problem. The economy is melting down. We are in absolute free fall. And I want you to think about what I'm going to say. Despite the fact that many of you believe that President Trump's policies were going to bring back manufacturing here, we're not doing that. We do have pledges. I will give President Trump that we have pledges that businesses are going to relocate here to the United States. Nothing has happened just yet. Okay, these companies that have pledged It's not a real commitment. A pledge is not a real commitment. Okay. Now, who would want to build a business here in the United States when we're collapsing? The world economy is collapsing. Now, going back to what I was saying, we can survive a stock market crash. We have many, many times. We can survive an economic meltdown. We've seen this before. But what really is the core issue here is what AI said. Look at this. Credit markets could seize. I've been telling people this for 1,000 years. That's the real issue. During the last financial crisis, that was the problem. Thank you, Clemente. I appreciate that. The credit markets were freezing up. Okay, credit or debt market. It was locking. The flow of credit through the economy was stopping. They didn't fix anything. What Bernanke did, he was rushed before our loving, caring representatives, and he told our loving, caring representatives that if they didn't start pumping billions into the economy, we wouldn't have an economy by Monday. This was over a weekend. It wasn't about the stock market, and it really wasn't about the economy. It's about the credit markets freezing. All transactions stop at that point, meaning you go out, you swipe your debit card, there's nothing there. In other words, your bank account, there's no cash. Your credit cards don't work. Nothing works. There will be pandemonium in the streets. Going back to what AI said. You'd likely see civil unrest, political instability, and a major shift in capital out of paper assets into tangible ones. Does this sound correct to you? Ha, Jonathan, thank you. Well, it depends, bro. It depends. E85 might work in some vehicles, but C16 in mine, with the amount of boost I'm running, the E85 won't work. Anyway, guys and girls, listen, I'm glad you brought that up because it got me a little out of this. But I wrote some stuff down here as what I believe we were going to see as AI said, if we continue down this path and slip into an inflationary depression, it's admitting that's where we're going. Now, before I even did that, before I even went to AI, these are things that I wrote down that we can expect. I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to try to read it backward. The U.S. economic meltdown or something like that, free fall, is picking up speed. Inflationary depression, mass job losses, supply shortages, supply chain disruptions, more war. People will lose their homes, livelihood, self-worth, dignity. And look what I ended this off with. Do you see what I did? Do you see what I see? Or no? Is Greg really that? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Is Greg completely disconnected from reality, or do you believe? No. Yes, ethanol would work, but I have to convert my fuel system to work on ethanol. Anyway, guys and girls, listen. Is there anything you guys and girls want to talk about? I think we really. This has been a home run video live stream in my view. And I really want to hear from you guys and girls on the things that we spoke about here. Look, man, it appears to me that there are, however you address these dark forces, whatever name you want to give it, they're working overtime right now to make things happen, to basically turn us against each other in a way to punish God. That's how I look at this here, okay? We are God's creations here. We're all divinely created. Do you think it makes the Almighty happy? Polar man, thank you. I appreciate that. Or unhappy when dark forces put us against each other, divide us, hatred, division. Do you see all these things? Lies, distractions, the stuff of nightmares. A man guilty of a $661 million fraud being pardoned by President Donald Trump. It all plays together. That means that you and I really need, what have I been saying? We need to raise our awareness, people, and realize that what we're seeing is not what it appears to be to most people, okay? Most people can't see any of this stuff. They've lost touch with reality. They've lost their touch with the Almighty. What have I been saying to you for a very long time? Reconnect with the source. You reconnect with the source, your whole entire life is going to change. Until that time, it's just freaking over. And we are being pushed into biblical events, if you want to put it that way here. And it's from the top down here in the United States. I have already publicly admitted that I believe that Elon Musk is a Satanist. I don't know what other proof we need here. Okay, the man with his Baphomet suit, that wasn't just a costume with an upside down cross on it that he had on his Twitter feed for over a year. For over a year, making sure everyone saw that. He's telling you, he's not even trying to hide it. Okay, this is the guy that's second in command in the United States of America here. And President Trump with the lies, the distractions, there's always truth mixed in here. You have to understand how they trick you. You guys know your Bible? Do you know the tricks that they use? They mix truth with lies and they make it sound real, and they will convince people from one end of the earth to the other. But it's their actions that tell us who they are. Am I on point here, people? What am I saying wrong? Anyway, it's crazy. Exactly. It's legal to pardon. Do you see what we have here? This is a person, obviously a devil, that's telling us that this person, it's okay that a person here guilty of $661 million of fraud, it's fine to do that. Yes, I guess if you're a devil worshiper, if you don't want to hold anyone to account. So we do have devils with us now, always. You understand? They don't give up. They work 24/7, henceforth the paid shills on this channel, the bots on this channel. When you speak truth like this, it drives them out of their minds. They can't take it. Let's drive them out of here. Okay, this is why I purge this channel. At every avenue I get, I purge it. I say things because I want them out of here, and it's working. They're running away. They're running away. You don't want these things here? You start talking about truth. They can't stand it. Anyway, that's kind of it, guys and girls. I think we're kind of done, honestly. So just as an example, the devils are with us. They're not going away. So take a stand against this stuff, people. I don't know what else to say. Because if we do not, then we're condoning it. We're condoning things like pardons of a man that defrauded people out of $661 million. What is next here? I can only imagine. No, exactly. The Epstein lists. How about the full release? Do you know how many times Donald Trump was named in that? You're not going to get it. And there's going to be nothing. No one's going to be held to account. That's the issue here. I've been telling you guys and girls, we need to hold people to account. It's just not going to happen anymore. And people have lost their ability to fight back. They've been transhumanized in many ways here, dehumanized, lost their ability to fight back, their dignity, their self-worth. You see what I'm saying here? Should be pretty obvious. Anyway, guys, listen, we're going to call it. I love you guys. And look what I wrote here. I just want you to see something here. I write these things down to myself. You see that? That's from earlier today. Imagine really a world where we really did love each other, care about each other, and we're charitable to each other instead of these devils running in the show. Really? I don't know, guys. All right, so with that said, bring it in here. Love each other, care about each other, and be charitable people, okay? This is how we fight the dark forces. It's too simple. We've been told this from thousands and thousands of years ago. Do you think it's time maybe we should listen or no? Anyway, let's put this week behind us, okay? This is really important information. I get that. And I'd love to hear from you on the stuff that we spoke about, all of it, okay? And if you got some out of this video, please share it, get it out there. If I've earned your thumbs up, I'd appreciate that too. All right. And I will see you guys Sunday for my market. So look ahead. I'm I'm more than likely going to be writing another newsletter for the Trends Journal, which also gets picked up by other publications as well. But you guys and girls get it first. You know why? Because I legitimately care about you, and I am working my hardest to shed a little light on what's happening here. And I think together we're making a positive difference in this world. Jonathan, thank you. Automotive professionals, thank you to all of you. The banking system. Dude, the banking system is coming apart. The banking system is coming apart. It's a part of the system. Again, loan defaults, black hole balance sheets. We all know that. I've been telling you guys, don't keep a single dollar in the system that you don't need to have in it. And with regard to the commercial banks, we already know Bank of America is being set up to fail. It looks pretty obvious to me. Credit unions, get your cash into a credit union or something like that. Anyway, all right, guys, listen, I'm really out here. All right, so you know what we're going to do, right? Our 3 things here. Number 1 at the top of that list, right there. All right. I'll see you Sunday. All right. That's it.